Mass Now Foundation was created 18 years ago by many of the people in this room here tonight. And its mission is to advance intersectional justice for all those who identify as women and educate the community on feminist issues. So every year we come together as a crowd, as a group, to celebrate this mission, to reflect on the accomplishments we've had in the last year, and to energize ourselves for the work we have ahead of us. And we all know that that's a lot. So we so appreciate you being here.
Many of you Feminist Affair loyalists may be wondering, where were we last year? We took a round at our current political climate and decided that we couldn't continue our work business as usual. With the guidance of fabulous Judy Neufeld and the hardest working leadership board that you have ever met, we decided to take a risk on ourselves and invest in a year-long strategic visioning process. We conducted a survey of our membership to identify the areas where our members felt we should be focusing our efforts. On the foundation side, what came through was a cry to turn our attention to racial justice. As you may know, NOW's history and membership is very white. But rather than run from these demographics, we decided as an organization to capitalize on the opportunity to educate a predominantly white audience on how to be anti-racist allies. And we're starting with during the first part of the year, YW Boston will be working with Mass Now to conduct a 5-week series for our leadership board and leader volunteers to talk openly about experiences of race and racism, identify barriers to inclusion within Mass Now itself, and develop a racial justice framework for our community organizing moving forward. We strongly believe that change starts from within, and we're excited to take on this important work. From there, we hope to host community events with our membership to educate each other on how to be activists in the fight for racial justice. We're so excited to be stepping forward with this member-directed initiative. Tonight, we are celebrating the beginning of this Mass Now initiative. We will also celebrate the winners of our Feminist in Action grant, which gives seed funding to young feminists for education projects related to Mass Now's mission.
But first, we want to begin the evening by presenting our annual Wonder Woman Award. And we're thrilled to have just learned that Senator Linda Dorcena Forry has joined us, as well as Lydia Edwards, so we're so excited. You came just in time for the stars of the show. The Wonder Woman Award goes to a woman who has made a significant impact on the lives of women and girls in Massachusetts. And this year, Mass Now is humbled and honored to present that award to Sylvia Farrell Jones. Boston, as many of you know, is to eliminate racism, empower women, let me see if I can get this right, to promote peace, justice, freedom, and dignity for all. In preparation for this event, I sent out an email to some of Sylvia's closest friends and colleagues and asked them if they would send some words that describe Sylvia for this event. The first email I got back actually said, "Dear Ellie, I'm very sorry. There are no sufficient words to describe Sylvia. She is just that amazing." And I was like, all right, well, I'm going to cut that part out of my speech. But we got others as well. And it included There is no one more dedicated to social justice than her. I admire her for her brilliance, bravery, humility, and altruism. Our community is a better place because of her. One of the strongest, most passionate, and effective people I have ever met. Truly one of the greats. We're delighted to have Sylvia joining us this evening, along with her family and members of the YW team. So without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce Sylvia's close friend and colleague, Beth Chandler, who will speak to Sylvia's extraordinary impact.
Hi, good evening. On behalf of Sylvia, I'd like to thank the NOW organization for selecting her for this wonderful honor. I also want to thank her friends and colleagues who are here this evening to show their support, and special thanks to her daughter Lauren, her son Evan, and her husband Sal, who I know are all here, for being here to share in this celebration. For many years, feminism was the F word that I dared not say. It wasn't because I feared being labeled a feminist. It was that I knew that the feminism that I knew did not represent what I understood as womanhood and the people that I understood to be women. And so early on, the feminists I knew tended to be privileged white women who liked to burn their bras. And I did not fit either of those categories. It wasn't until I started working at YW Boston and getting to know Sylvia that my ideas of feminism changed. I have come to believe that complex ideas like feminism need champions like Sylvia to reach across divisions and inspire unity. Webster defines feminism as the advocacy of women's rights on the grounds of political, social, economic equality command, and organized activity on behalf of women's rights and interests. In both her professional and personal life, Sylvia truly embodies both definitions. In part, her feminist beliefs stem from her mother Carmen and her aunts Ruth and Grace. Through their examples, she learned the value of perseverance, empowerment, and building community through solidarity with women. The rest comes from her belief that no one moves forward until we all move forward. Or, as NOW National recently released in a statement, we must unpack racism and take the needs of marginalized sisters seriously. Our highest ideal is to find the path to work together with women, all women, despite the seemingly impossible challenges that lay ahead. Sylvia has demonstrated her commitment to feminism in so many ways, and I'm just going to enumerate a few. Shaping YW Boston's program portfolio to serve women of all and girls across a variety of sectors and socio-economic levels, supporting the Transgender Bill of Rights in 2014, serving on the Boston Women's Workforce Council to make Boston the best place in the country for working women by removing the visible and invisible barriers for women's advancement, nominating women, including colleagues and co-workers of all ages, from all walks of life, for awards and honors in the city, and mentoring members of the Association of Latino Professionals for America, including YW Boston's own Director of Operations, Leslie Alvarado. Driven to provide women a platform for creating change, Sylvia has helped diverse communities turn experiences of injustice and inequality into leadership and power. She has encouraged and mentored hundreds of women, including me, and has inspired us in the same way that her mother, Carmen, and her aunts, Grace and Ruth, inspired her. Through her career, Sylvia has been a true agent for change, a trailblazer, an intellectual innovator, and a champion of inclusive community for women and marginalized people everywhere. Today, consider how we can all move forward to continue the important legacy that Sylvia has begun and stewarded in us. Whether it is marching for human rights, supporting women's health, or by being a feminist, and yes, I said the F word. The time is now for all of us to fight to eliminate racism empower women, and promote peace, justice, freedom, and dignity for all. Thank you so much.
In addition to the Wonder Woman Award, we also have a certificate of recognition from the City of Boston for Sylvia in honor of your 10 years of service as President and CEO of YW Boston. Thank you, Beth, for those wonderful words.
I am the Mass Now Vice President of Community Engagement, Rebecca Santos-Sandoval, and this evening I am thrilled to be able to present our Feminism in Action grant to a young woman who is building on the social justice work that is so important to Sylvia and to all of us committed to equality. The Mass Now Foundation's Feminism in Action grant seeks to inspire young feminists to use $3,000 in grant funds to improve the lives of women and girls by creating an education-based project here in Massachusetts. This past year, we worked with our 2016 grantee to create the Equity Project. Zara Olden was unable to be here to tell you a little bit about her project and its successes. However, she provided a brief statement about her experience with the Feminism in Action grant, and I would like to share it with you. Zara says, I was humbled to be selected for this award. The idea of a concert with an emphasis on gender pay equity was an idea that I had considered for some time. But it wasn't until I had collaborated with my artistic partner, Adrian Baker, that we created a vision of what we wanted, and the grant enabled us to actualize it. It was important for us as Black women to celebrate the artistry and musical contributions to contemporary music by Black women that are often missing in musical productions. Representation matters, and this event showed the power of collaboration. In addition to learning about Black women composers, attendees also listened to music performed by a multicultural, all-woman ensemble. Attendees also committed to taking an action step in their lives in regards to pay equity. Some of those included asking for a raise, supporting their fellow women coworkers through policies that alleviate pay discrepancies within their organizations, and sharing resources within their communities. I am grateful for the opportunity and generosity that allowed for this project's execution. With that, I am thrilled to announce this year's winner, Gray Bates, who is here to tell us about her project and how she will utilize the Feminism in Action grant. So please help me welcome and congratulate Gray Bates.
So my name is Gray Bates. Essentially, the way that the project sort of sorry, this is like the first time I've ever done this. So I am the lead game designer for a game called 2121. I have been working closely with Jessica Weaver, who is the director of the game. So she did most of the research, and I did most of the game design. So essentially what our goal with this game is to encourage young women of all walks of life in order to run for office. So we know the problem, gender disparity in political representation. And what does that mean? Essentially what that means in English is that there are not as many women as there are men in office. And what's crazy is that if we move at the same rate that we are currently moving, we will achieve gender parity in the year 2121. That's a long friggin' time from now. So, our goal with this game is to not only educate people on this amazing statistic, but also to encourage young women, again, of all walks of life, to run for office, to run for politics. So currently, the main issues of why women don't run for office are there's no visible, relatable models. I mean, look at the way that Hillary Clinton was treated in the presidential election. do you want to be treated that way? No, like nobody wants to run for office because there are no models. There is, the political knowledge is often presented as a men's field. And while men absolutely should participate in politics, women should too, as well as gender neutral people as well. Like, that goes without saying. And so because of these factors, it's almost impossible for women to imagine themselves in a position of political power. Yes, there are amazing women who have held positions of power, but you don't know that until your high school history class at best, and it's like maybe a paragraph in the history book. So we are hoping to change that. We are hoping to not only educate people on the amazing models that they already have, but also encourage women and say, you can do this. This is something that is possible for your future if you want it. So, essentially, what we want to do with this game is, because games are a really cool method of storytelling and of education. They're a form of media that you can directly interact with and thus directly learn from in a unique way. So essentially the way that the game is structured, that's me by the way, the way that the game is structured is it takes you through a campaign. It takes you from the beginning stages of the campaign when you're primarily fundraising to the end stages of a campaign when you're primarily debating. And this is really important because a lot of people, while they kind of know from what they've seen on TV how a campaign works, a lot of people don't understand how to run a campaign, and that's often the first hurdle. That's really hard to get over. Like, why would you want to run for something that you don't know how to do? So this game is designed to teach women how to do this. It is to teach women that you can do this. This is a possibility, and this is really important. So essentially, the game will be primarily played in schools. We suspect that our target audience is high schoolers, although it can be played from middle school through college. We've had success with playtesting in college settings, and it's gone super duper well. And so another thing that's very interesting about our game is that the players will take roles of women who are running or who have run for power, real or power office. Women who are real people that you can actually reach out to in real life. And those are the people that you will be taking their role. And so essentially we are showing people these are people who've done this. These are people who have stand at the same crossroads that you're standing at right now and have chosen to take the incredibly risky step of running for office. And so, learning objective is to build political imagination and interest, build political skills, and learn about gender and politics because, my God, the only thing they teach you about in politics is like what guy won president in 1956. And so essentially the goal of the game is to teach people, like we include quotes from women, we include statistics about women in politics. We aim to teach young people, men and women, how women function in politics, how women have historically functioned in politics, and how women should function in politics right now. So basically, we are hoping to not only encourage women to run, but also foster dialogue about it, because men need to encourage women to run too. Like, it shouldn't just be on the onus of women to run for office. And so we additionally, as it says up there, we are trying to encourage optimism. There are a lot of statistics that are super depressing in this game, but there are also a lot of statistics. There are also a lot of statistics that are really optimistic and really show that while it may seem like the deck is stacked against you, you can do this. That's the ultimate goal of the game, is encouragement. You can do this, you will do this, and when this happens, very soon, we will achieve gender parity in Congress, the House, and potentially the presidency, and achieve a better world for both women and men, and everybody else involved. So, thank you so much. But I do appreciate you listening to me. If you have any questions about my role in the project or the project in general, I will be around, so feel free to ask. Thank you so, so much.
tonight. Now we have the privilege to hear words from one of my favorite role models, Senator Linda Dorcena Forry. Senator Forry has been a tireless civil servant and an outspoken advocate on behalf of women and girls and people of color in Massachusetts. She's also one of the most formidable and inspiring people on Beacon Hill. And as Boston Magazine warned us, you don't want to mess with her. It is my pleasure to welcome Senator Forry here tonight.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
All right. It is an honor really for me to be here with all of you. Thank you so much, Sasha, for that wonderful comments. Very, very nice. But it's really great to join all of you, and thank you for your support of Mass Now Foundation and to recognize the incredible work that they're doing. I want to thank the board for their work and believing in women and uplifting girls in our great comedy. I want to thank Ellie as well. Thank you as the two presidents for all your work. Thank a good friend as well, Marie Turney, who had reached out and for helping to put this together and making it happen. But she called and she told us about this, and I have to tell you, I'm just honored to be here as we recognize an incredible leader in our community, and that's Sylvia Ferry-Jones, who has done. We say thank you. Thank you, Sylvia, for your commitment in uplifting young girls and women in this great state. And we know the work because you have touched many, many lives. And so I'm honored to be here as you're getting this Wonder Woman Award because you deserve it. Give it up. Give it up. I want to thank Beth, Chandler, beautiful, beautiful remarks this evening. Thank you for speaking, and thank you for speaking about Sylvia's work and letting people know the depth, right, in terms of fighting for racial equality, fighting for women equality, but just fighting for basic rights for folks. It's true. Uplifting people from poverty, making sure families are together. We say thank you. Thank you for speaking. The 2017 Feminism in Action grant winner. Okay, great. Everyone won the game, so we got to pick up this game, right? And kind of participate and see how it works. But I just want to say, I know you're looking at Congress, but I got to talk about Boston really quick, or Massachusetts. We have incredible women running for office, right? We have incredible programs like Emerge, like the Women's Pipeline, recognizing the talent of women needing to be at the table. We have Ann Bookman from UMass Boston and the women, right? But we have Lydia Edwards, a candidate, come on, for city. I say we have women who are stepping up and putting their name forward because of incredible organizations and others that are saying we need to be at the table. And I have to tell you, this is my 12th year in elected office, and it's gone by really, really fast, right? And for me, I look at my children, because when I got elected 12 years ago, I had one child, John Patrick, and he was 16 months old. In 2 weeks, he's going to be 13. When I was a state rep, I had 3 additional children. Connor's now 10, Madeline is 7, and Nora is 5. So we can do it, women, because we are Wonder Women. It's a lot, but we can do it. And here in Massachusetts, I have to say, as we look at the statistics, and we say, we can do better as electing more women. Also electing more women of color. In Massachusetts, there are 40 state senators. There are 2 of us. Myself as the only black senator in the Commonwealth, and Senator Sonia Chang Diaz, right, 2. Out of 160 state reps, there are 2. There's Representative China Tyler and Representative Keiko Oro, right, 2 women of color. And there are women, no doubt. But how do we work together? And I think it's awesome that Mass Now Foundation is taking on the challenge of talking about race and talking about inequality and really having courageous conversations, because that's what it's about. It doesn't have to be attacking one another when we talk about race and when we talk about racism, because we can see it in the lens of our country, in the conversation and the dialogues that are taking place. So what we need to do is understand and recognize ourselves in the other person. We may not look the same. We may not have the same cultural ethnicity. We may not have grown up in the same neighborhood, may have not grown up in the same economic group, but we are all humans. So as a mom, I could look at another mother that may not look at me, and I could empathize and say, wow, you know, she's going through some things. Or celebrating great things like birthdays, right? Or I could look at someone else and say, wow, how can I put myself in that person's shoes? And that's what's awesome, that you guys are tackling it. Because everyone talks about race and they don't know how to do it, right? Right. Because it gets a little tricky and people are like, wow, can I really talk about it? And we say, yeah, you can talk about it. Because whether you're white, black, Latino, Asian, doesn't matter, Native American, we all come to the table with a perspective, a different perspective. But what we need to do is to be there for each other. It's to stand up when we hear or see injustice happening. It's to be that voice of reason when we're in our homes or in our neighborhoods or in our communities or in our workplace. We need to stand up and speak out and say, not today. That joke may have been funny 20 years ago, but in 2017, when we see what's happening in our country, it's not funny now, right? Right. When we're having events and so this is what's awesome about tonight, that you are recognizing and supporting women and saying that these issues of race, it impacts us all. But as women, as we talk about pay equity and we talk about all these other issues, I want us to be able to break it down even further, right? Because even as, and I see Megan Costello from the Mayor's Office of Women Advancement, come on, Megan. Doing incredible work, and I'm going to say this, we fought hard in the legislature, okay, in terms of pay equity. But the number we kept on hearing was 70 cents on the dollar. And 70 cents on the dollar is white women making 70 cents on the dollar to the white man. If you look at black women, it is 66 cents on the dollar to the white man. If you look at Latino women, Latina, it is 54 cents on the dollar when we're talking about that. And when you're talking about Native American, I mean, come on. I don't even want to say it, because it's horrible. And I say that so when we talk about 70 cents, I want you to break down the other numbers. Because I need you to see our struggle, right? And I know you see it, but I need you to say 70 cents. I need you to say 60 cents. I need you to say 54 cents. Not until every woman, every one of us, can get up to that dollar will we be satisfied. So that's what I want to say. So we have a lot of work to do. As we help to cultivate and motivate and energize, our young women and our families and everybody, right? Working together to get more women elected. But I gotta tell you, one of the cool things that happened as, Gray was talking and other folks, but Megan and this initiative about getting women to negotiate their pay. Come on! How awesome is that, huh? Because we would settle, folks, you get, you go for a job interview, you get the statement and you're like, I wanted something a little higher, but you know what? I guess I'm going to have to settle. But what's been incredible outcome of these workshops is 5,000 women have been trained not to settle. 5,000 women, great number, let's clap for that. 5,000 women have been trained to say, wait a minute, I deserve more, I'm worth more. My experience and what I'm bringing to the table is going to elevate this company. It's going to elevate the discussion in the public sector, and I need to be there. And so we know this work can't be done alone. But I am just happy to be here. When I was asked to come, and I heard Sylvia was getting the award for Wonder Woman, I'm like, I'm here. And now I hear about Gray, who's doing 21-21 the game. Amazing. And so, but we know that we have to just look at ourselves and see ourselves in one another. And that's in everything that we do. Whether you are in the public sector or the private sector, is really being able to see the discussion and the conversation happening in our country. That, wow, God, like, you know, why is this even happening? You know, as we see, as folks talk about the knee, taking the knee, it is not about being against the American flag or being against our great country or being against veterans. It is not. And so we have to bring the conversation back to why Kaepernick took that knee. He took that knee. Why? Because young black boys and men, black men, without guns in our country, in our great country, were getting gunned down by our police officers. People that we respect, you know, and knows there to come and look out for us and our families. That's why the knee happened. Because nothing, no justice was done for these young black men and black boys and black men that got shot dead and they had no guns and they did nothing wrong. But because they were black in our great country, they got shot down. And so I say this because I need you to have this conversation with your communities and your families and your friends. So when you hear folks say, yo, the knee's anti-patriotism, you know, it's anti-veteran, let them know, wait a minute. Let's bring it back. Do you remember why the knee took place? Do we remember why all these cases? You know, a single cigarette on the New York street, someone dies, I can't breathe, no one's helping, but they're putting handcuffs. Do we remember? And I say this because you can have that conversation. Just like Mass Now is going to have the conversation, but you need to have that conversation with your family and your friends. And when it comes to Facebook and Twitter, my goodness, we love technology, but people hide behind that thing, don't they? They hide behind this technology. But when you see your friends going off on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat, I need you to check them. I need you to check them and have a conversation. And say, wait a minute, if it was our son, or my grandson, or my husband, who had a flat tire, and he came out to say, call the police because he had a flat tire, in a pink polo and khaki pants, in a black Escalade, get shot, how would we feel? How would we feel if it was our loved ones? So that's where it is, y'all. We got to see ourselves in each other. And we have to say this fight is not just for us, but it's all of us. All of us as a human community, as a human world, but also as Americans. And I say this as a first-generation American. I am a child of immigrants that came here to this great country. And they knew the opportunity that was here in this place they call America. And so, you know, we grew up and understood that it was about giving back, helping others, and being the voice for the voiceless. So I can say I stand here because of my parents. Because when all my blood relatives left Howard Avenue, they opened our house to other Haitian families who didn't have relatives in Boston. And they let them stay there for free, so they could get assimilated into this new culture they call America. So I know my country has empathy. I know my country has love for everybody. And so it is up to us as individuals to do that work and to show the love to those that are suffering. And to say we're going to be the voice of reason when we see something or hear something that's off color. We're going to be the voice. And we're going to do our part in healing this country and bringing people together and saying we are in it as a human community. As a human community, we are in it. And it starts with courageous conversations. Thank you all, and God bless.
Thank you for those inspiring words, Senator. I still have chills on my arms. Can we give her another round of applause? My name is Danielle Kim, and I have had the privilege of serving on Mass Now's board for the past 2 years. As I look around this room, I notice a few things. This network is vibrant, it is inclusive, and it is strong. I don't know about you, but this past year has been quite difficult. Every day I turn on the news, and I feel like we're sliding back in history. From the ceaseless assaults on reproductive rights, affordable health care, and our immigrant neighbors, we can't let our guard down for even a second. Like many of you, I woke up on the morning of November 9th feeling a pit in my stomach. I couldn't decide whether I needed to go to a yoga class and just breathe it out, or go to a boxing class and punch out my emotions. I felt hopeless, defeated, and angry. Just 5 days after the election, the Mass Now board gathered at the home of our co-president Ellie, and together we sat and we grieved. In that moment of sorrow, I needed this community. Over an impressive spread of donuts, we reminded each other that feminist voices matter. They are powerful, they are urgent, and they are important. It also made me think about how Mass Now has made a tangible impact on so many people. In 2010, when we stood arm in arm with hotel workers to speak out against unfair labor practices, Mass Now mattered to working families. In 2012, when we helped amplify the stories of discrimination on the basis of gender identity, Mass Now mattered to our trans friends. And this past spring, when we held a series of workshops to educate the community about their rights under the new equal pay law, Mass Now mattered to thousands of women across the Commonwealth. I stand here today inspired and humbled by all of you. Together we have accomplished so much and have laid the foundation for what will surely be an exciting year to come. With your support, we will affirm our commitment to racial justice, host a series of consciousness-raising events, and dramatically increase our internal staff capacity. Mass Now has done so much for each of us, and now I have just one request for you. Around the room, you will see my lovely colleagues walking around with baskets. Don't be shy, I promise they won't bite. They are the friendliest, most hardworking group of women you will find. And we just need a few more people to step up and invest in the future of this work. Now more than ever, we need to prove that feminist voices will not be silenced. Dig deep tonight, and through your generosity, show how much Mass Now means to you. Thank you very much.
So I just wanted to give it up again to Danielle on our board. What an inspiring night. For those who don't know me, my name is Judy Pineda-Neufeld. I'm former Mass Now co-president, Mass Now VP of fundraising, former PAC chair, former everything. And here tonight to help coordinate this event. And so I've been doing some number crunching and thought that I would give you an update in case you're wondering just how deep in your pockets you should go tonight to help support this event. So we had a goal which would help us, as you heard, hire a staff person soon, right? Help us start our racial justice work and continue the incredible work educating our members about the advocacy we're doing on the C4 side. So to help us get there, we just have a little over $5,000 left to raise tonight to reach our goal. That means with the number of folks in this room, it's just about 50 bucks. So if you can reach into your pockets tonight and dig just a little bit deeper, and if you can help us raise that extra $5,000, we'll be able to post that job description that we have ready and waiting to help hire a staff person and be able to jumpstart our work on this racial justice initiative that you heard all about tonight. So just a little update. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to pass it right back over to Sasha.
So before we let you go to enjoy the desserts and fabulous feminist company and get yourself a pin as well, they're over there, we'd like to say a special thank you to our Feminist Leadership Circle, which is listed on your programs. Can we all give, oh, and also we'd like to thank District Hall, YW Boston, the Mass Now Leadership Board, and the Feminist Affair Planning Committee. This night would not have been possible without your dedication and hard work. And finally, a special thank you to all of you who are here tonight, because our work would not be possible without this community. We are so grateful. Enjoy your night, everyone. Thank you.